What's up, YouTube? Coming back at you once again with some more topics to discuss. It's a rainy day here, but I'm out and about early. Got a lot of things to do today. But what I want to talk about today is just building up what you have. And before we can, get into it, if you guys can hit the like button for me, comment if you agree with anything that I'm talking about. And I appreciate you guys doing that and stopping by and listening to me. But what I want to talk about today is just building up what you have. A lot of times, especially in this day and age, we compare ourselves to others, right? You don't find the joy that you normally would have because you're looking at social media and you're seeing people that are doing way bigger things than you. And some for me as an older guy, sometimes I might see guys that are way younger than me having a lot more accomplished, and sometimes that can steal your joy or actually kill your motivation because you're like, man, I'm so far behind. How can I ever catch up? And what I want to encourage everyone today is to, work with what you have, right? If you decide to be the best version of yourself, that's better than, sitting around comparing yourself to what others have, right? And working what you have, sometimes, you might not have the skills, so you need to go out and get those skills, right? For me, I was in, once I got out the military, I thought I wanted to do banking, right? And I did banking for years, and, in finance, and, I just wasn't gaining the traction that I wanted, wasn't living the life that I wanted to live. And I decided to make a change. Like it was coming to a point where I hated going into work, right? So I decided to go back to school and gain another skill. And that skill, I went into IT. And ever since I went into IT, I've had a better quality of life. I'm not going to sit and say, I made, super tons of money. I made more money than I was making in banking. And I've had a lot better life as far as quality of life than I had in banking. Banking was, very hectic and a very cutthroat environment. And it seemed to be a little uncaring, is the best way I can describe it. And I decided to work on myself and, give myself a skill. And, I went back to school. And you don't necessarily have to go back to college, but you definitely need a skill to, feed yourself. And I think that's where a lot of guys are lacking nowadays. Because they don't have the skills to compete in this particular environment, right? And the skills, you graduate high school, or you may go to college, you may not go to college, and you land yourself in some type of career field that may not be fulfilling to you, and your days become monotonous. And what I would encourage you is to, if you're not a college type person, go to a trade school. You have to have some type of skill, whether that be HVAC, IT. Some people talk about going into plumbing, electrician. Some type of skill to improve your life. And what I've noticed is the guys who actually have those skills. A nice looking truck. The guys who have those skills, I have a lot better quality of life. I have a lot of my friends that I know now, or friends and associates that decided to get a skill, and the money they're making, they're able to significantly take care of their families, right? And a lot of people look down their nose at blue collar jobs, and actually, blue collar guys who really invest in themselves and learn a trade really live a nice life. And they're able to do things that, able to have things that, they always wanted to have, if that makes sense. Like for me, I'm into jewelry, right? I like jewelry. I've always liked jewelry because, ever since I was a younger guy, Sorry about that. Ever since I was a younger guy, you know, my grandfather and everybody was into jury, so that makes me into jury. I just love it, and I bring that up because, you know, some of the guys that I see that buy some really nice things, because you know, especially if you grow up in an urban environment, you know, you only think that, you know, hustling, you know, legal hustling is the only way to afford those nice things. But, you know, perception is your reality. Once I got out of that and, you know, started being around people who came from all walks of life, I started noticing some of the guys when I'd be out there, you know, jury shopping or just in jury stores in general, they worked hard, and, you know, they were able to buy the things that they want because of their trade, right? So working what you have, right? Taking who you are right now and seeing the areas that you can improve. You know, you working with the cards that you were dealt. I know that's a phrase that a lot of people hear, but they don't really understand. You know, working with the cards you're dealt. You know, you can always improve yourself because you have the capability of learning, right? And you have to find the job that works the best for you, the career that works the best for you. And like for me, even though I'm in IT, I'm always looking to improve, always looking to, you know, see where I can add value to myself and, you know, move up. And so that leads me to my next point, right? Work with the cards you do. You're not going to be any taller, right? I'm an average height. I'm 5'9", and, you know, I have to learn that even though sometimes I always wish I was taller, because I have a cousin of mine who is, you know, he's a taller guy, and I see the attention that he gets when we used to go out. And it's just, you know, he's standing over everybody in the club, right? He's not super tall. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3". He's not super tall, but, you know, combine that with, you know, him taking care of himself, always dressing nice, and you have an environment where, you know, he stands out. And we would go to clubs, and, you know, if it's a crowded club, he's going to be over, you know, most people. So when we walk in, I am, just by, you know, sheer numbers, I can't be seen until, you know, the area opens up. He can be seen as soon as he walks in because he's taller. And, you know, I always used to wish I was taller, but at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not going to get any taller, right? I'm 5'9". I'm going to be 5'9" for the rest of my life until I start shrinking as an older person, right? So I had to work with what I had. You know, my thing was, okay, I'm going to, when you do see me, I look good, right? Which means I'm going to be dressed well, I'm going to be looking well, I'm going to be smelling good, as far as, you know, colognes and things of that nature. I'm going to enhance what I already have, and I think that's what I mean when working, you know, building up what you already have. I'm going to enhance the things I have, right? I'm going to be the best version of myself when I'm out and about. And I think that's another thing that guys like. I mean, you can't go somewhere and expect to get anything, you know, especially attention from women, if, you know, you're not taking care of yourself. And you can't blame women for that. They want the best, just like you want the best for you, they want the best for themselves, right? And sometimes I think, and I will say that some women are delusional, because I've lived in an era, at the tail end of the era, I'm not really seeing it as much as other guys, but I know it's there because, you know, that mentality has always been there. Where some women who really don't deserve the top tier guys won't talk to guys that are really their equal, right? If that makes sense, right? So if they are 5, they look at 5s as beneath them. They even look at 6s or 7s as beneath them, like, because they believe they deserve 8, 9s, and 10. And they're just an average woman, and that's because, you know, the era of social media has gassed women to a point where they judge who they should be with long term based on the attention that they're getting from social media. And what I noticed is there's a lot of guys who are, you know, super tall, and, you know, really have the attributes that most guys think they want. They don't always talk to the baddest of girls. Some do, right? Some do. But majority of them are sliding in the inbox of average women to cut. And these guys gas these women's heads up because these women are thinking, well, I have such and such and so in my inbox, so this is the level that I'm at, right? And the vice versa is true, because what I also noticed is because some women are so gorgeous that they intimidate a lot of guys, right? So most of the time, these women don't get any attention from. They might get the attention, but they don't get anyone solidly talking to them, right? And I've actually talked to some of the baddest girls because guys weren't talking to them. And, that's just a fact. So I would encourage you to build up your confidence to actually talk to some of these women and not feel bad if you're rejected, because some of them are just, they're just not going to swing your way. But what that will build is confidence, because what happens if you start talking to women that actually are a lot better looking, then it gives you confidence to talk to any women. And that's where I built my confidence from. I would just talk to different women, and some of them were super bad, and so when it came down to me talking, like, let's say I'm talking to a 9, right? I'm not saying I'm getting anywhere. Sometimes I have. But let's say I'm not getting anywhere. When I go talk to a 6 or a 7, she's just regular to me. And because she's regular to me, I have a lot more confidence. And, me having that confidence, it shines through. So, I would encourage everyone to, take a moment today, analyze your life, think about what you can improve, and start working on that. Pick one thing that you can improve, whether that be, looking for how to improve your skills, maybe working out a little bit, maybe eating better, dressing better. And as the series continues, we'll continue to dive into that. What you can do to improve yourself. But I wanted to put that bug in everyone's ear today. Just start working on yourself and start analyzing the things that you have going for yourself, and like, okay, what can I do to improve that? And we'll circle back to that and let's continue to build on it. But anyway, I just wanted to bring up that topic today. If you guys have any questions, please put that down in the chat. We'll try to touch those in later videos. But anyway, if you could do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe button, and we'll continue this journey together. Anyway, make it a great day, guys.